Howdy, I'm Bob Trask. This last week, a dear friend of mine, a sweet lady who had been carrying her baby for 9 months, went to the doctor. The doctor said the baby's heartbeat was strong and that the baby was well and the mom was well. And the next day, the baby's heart stopped and the baby died in her womb. I can hardly think of a deeper tragedy. Even my sorrow is really profound. Her sorrow and the sorrow of the baby's papa, that's just got to be unimaginable. And as you're listening to me, maybe you've had that same experience or something like it, where you've lost a loved one, you've lost maybe a child. Maybe your daughter or your son was lost in a war or in a traffic accident or in a drive-by shooting or from cancer or some disease or a heart attack or some terrible accident. And at that time, you might have fallen into the depths of despair. You might have fallen into a place that was so dark and so lonely and so filled with hopelessness that you thought you would never recover. And I know what that's like. I've been there. In fact, the first time I was there, I was just a teenager. And I knew I couldn't recover. I knew that my life was over. I was finished. I couldn't see a future. I couldn't go on. I was hopeless. It was hopeless. And I was just a teenager. And yet my life was over. And I didn't think I could heal, but I did. And I learned something from that. I learned that no matter how dark the night, somewhere there is a light. No matter how dark the night, somewhere there's a light. And if I focus only on the darkness, I'll never find the light. But in order to do that, I have to let go. And I'm not saying let go of the sorrow, because like the sweet mom and dad of this little baby and their family, their tragedy is great, and their sorrow is a deep and vast sorrow. But they will recover. And when they recover, and when they heal, the deep scar that's inside of them from this will turn into a valley of flowers. It will become wisdom and grace. It will become strength and self-empowerment. But my friends, that can only happen. That transformation of deep, aching, hurting grief, that can only happen if we love ourselves and love each other. Because love is the answer. But if I have one of two things, or either one of those going on, like guilt, if my life right now is filled with I should have, I could have, if only I had, I should have, I know that I probably could. If I have any of that second guess stuff going on, I can never heal. Because I'll carry that with me like a great bag over my shoulder all the way through life. And it'll rattle and bang against me and constantly remind me that I'm not all I could be. Because that's resentment toward myself that I have. I'm having resentment toward myself. I can't afford that. I cannot afford that. We are angels. We are the incarnations of the great light, of the great spirit. Incarnations of love and beauty and power and creativity. And we are here with a mission to go forward in this life and light as many candles in the darkness as we can. That's our mission. And we have no time, nor do we have the right to shut that light out. We don't have the right to dim our own light. So yes, we can hurt. And we can allow that hurting to open doors in the castle of our hearts that we didn't even know were there, and allow new rooms of light and bounty of wisdom to shine in on us. We can allow that to happen. It's not easy. Oh, it's outside the comfort zone. Poof. It's outside of our identity. Oh my goodness. But our identity will expand then, and our comfort zone will expand then, and we'll become more, as long as we don't feel the guilt. And the other one is resentment. Resentment is my guilt focused and projected toward you. As resentment is toward me, my guilt is resentment toward me. My resentment toward you is my guilt projected toward you. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. I can't have guilt without having resentment, and I can't have resentment without having guilt. They're the same thing in two different bodies. And we can't afford either one of them, because both of them are lies. Both of them say, should have, could have, would have been different. If there's a great, beautiful Ming vase, and I'm looking at it and turn and accidentally knock it over, and it crashes to the floor and breaks in a million pieces, it's done. It's done. It's finished. This is a new reality now. A brand new reality. One that I now need to move into and to adopt and to accept. Because unless I accept it, I stay back in fantasy of what could have, should have, would have been. And I can't do that. I can't afford to do that. You can't afford for me to do that. And I can't afford for you to do that, because we're a team. We're a team going forward, making a difference in this world, bringing forth new generations of angels that will help make the world a better place. I'm always reminded when I think of guilt, and when I think of sorrow, and I think of anguish, real anguish. I remember thinking so often about the blacks down in the plantation country, hoeing those weeds and picking cotton and doing all of that work, and having their children sold into slavery on auctions away from them, and having their wives or husband pulled away from them and sold away from them, and watching the abuse and the whippings. And there could be deep resentment. There could be deep guilt going along with that. But they turned it then into their music, into the great music that came out of that. The blues and the jazz that is so filled with soul and so filled with pain and the beauty of pain. Like Etta James' great song, At Last. At last, my love has come along. Oh, then lonely days are over. Oh, that song and those other songs are so filled with culture, the culture that came from pain. And there's a culture inside of you today taking root and being born that you need to pay attention to and to cultivate and to allow it to come forward through your pain and through your joy. So, no guilt and no resentment. None. Done. Out of here. Gone. Forget about it. Accept that this is the way it is. Today, the reality is this reality, and I accept it. It hurts, but I accept it anyway. This is my reality. Guilt, gone. Resentment, gone. Done. Over with. Finished. Okay? Thank you. I'm Bob Trask.